they said of life. It's time to open up your eyes, 'cause we were made to fly. We can do anything. We'll shine like the sun, the moon, the stars. We can go anywhere. They'll see us no matter where we are, 'cause we got the fire. We got the fire. Show the world the impossible is possible. Show the world the impossible is possible. There's a moment when you understand. You don't gotta follow all the plans. It's time to open up your hands.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. All right. It looks like we have people who have joined us. All right. That's exciting. Thank you for joining us for our August edition of Coffee Talk with Trey. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I appreciate those of you that are on. Tony, thank you. Good morning. Good to see you again this morning. Miss Unita, good to see you again this morning. Thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate you guys coming on. Um, we have a lot to talk about, right? So what we're going to do is debrief our monthly meeting as we have promised, and because I believe this is going to be something that is beneficial for each of us as we stay informed and stay connected to what is happening in and around the Cobb County School District, specifically those things that are important to those of us in Post 3. So we're excited to join you this morning. Just a couple of announcements and a couple of shout outs. Let me get a couple of shout outs out first, because what we do can't be possible and not done effectively without those of you in our community that continue to support us and continue to go out of your way to ensure that our schools are excellent here and that our kids have an excellent experience. And so let me start with that. First, I want to start off by thanking Barry with Keep Cobb Beautiful. I want to thank the Mableton Improvement Coalition. I think I see Miss Caroline here, Miss Carolyn from Hope Resources. I see First Christian Church of Mableton. I see We Thrive in Riverside. So, and Mableton Improvement Coalition, Nate, our partners over there. And I just want to thank all of you for coming out on last weekend and coming to all of our schools in Post 3 and making sure that the grounds were cleaned up around the schools, that the trash was picked up off the side of the highway. We really appreciate it. We're still encouraging everyone to adopt a mile, whether it be your local PTA, whether it be your school, your teachers, adopt a mile around your school so that and schedule some trash pickups so that the aesthetics around our building is a positive learning environment. I will make sure that we can do all we can as a school district to support those efforts and making sure that, our grasses are cut properly and things are maintained the way they should be. Because again, as we continue to serve the communities we live in, we want to be a great community partner and making sure that the schools that serve our community are reflective of the excellence of Cobb County and the Cobb County School District. So I appreciate each and every one of you for going out and being a part of that. Ms. Monica Delancey, thank you. We really appreciate it. We continue to appreciate the support that you give all of our schools here in Post 3. So thank you so very much for that. I do want to talk about first before we even get started, because we are our commissioner, our chairlady Cupid has declared a state of emergency for Cobb County. So before we get started, I do want to make sure that I put that community piece of information out there. It was released on yesterday, and it is an active emergency operation plan declaring Cobb County is now in emergency orders, and it did happen late yesterday, yesterday afternoon, and it will be in effect for the next 30 days. And basically, the order cites that dramatic increase in hospitalizations that has left the county critically low on critical care beds, as well as noting the increase in positivity rates for the virus and low vaccination rates compared to elsewhere in the county. So our public health officials, we've been watching those reports and those press releases. Even on yesterday, there were several press release from our area hospitals saying, "Hey, please listen. We have got to be safe because this surge that we are in is critical. It is, and it's going to be hard to manage if we don't all do our part." But they're urging us to do whatever we can to encourage people to get the COVID vaccine and wear masks while near other people. This is what our chair lady said, and we thank you for your leadership, Chair Lady Cupid. That this declaration will open the doors to provide assistance to others in the county who need it and highlight the critical stress this surge has put on our local healthcare facilities. And I'm bringing this up because as a parent who was out searching, trying to get tested and make sure that me and my family was safe, we had a difficult time trying to get testing. And so we do see that there is a need for us to make sure that we mitigate the spread and follow all guidelines that have been outlined by Cobb Douglas Public Health, our CDC, all of our health professionals, and many of us watched those press conferences on yesterday. Let's do all we can to mitigate this spread, so that we can continue to have face-to-face instruction for our students and things of that nature, and just so that our community spread is down. That is our hope. And so I am hoping that each of you are paying attention to, these things that are happening. And please just be safe. And wherever you stand on it, we're asking everyone to be safe and as safe as possible. Because again, we are in critical times here in Cobb County. And so not to present fear, but to present where we are currently so that we can make appropriate actions and correct accordingly. Hey, Kelly. Hey, Callie. Good morning. So I did want to make sure I mentioned that. Let me see what we have on our agenda for today. Thank you for everyone who has sent me text messages. I got your text message this morning, Mr. Earl Reese, my director of performing arts at Pebblebrook High School many years ago and good friend. Thank you so much. Francesca Warren with Fulton County. Thank you, Fulton County Board of Education. Thank you. I received your message as well. I appreciate you and your support and the support of all of our board members around the metro area. Thank you for the overwhelming pouring of support and love that you are showing me and our colleagues in regards to the things that are happening in and around the Cobb County School District. So we appreciate you. We will be calling we will have a meeting soon. I believe we have discussed some concerns in the past, our group, and I believe that we have an opportunity to do some great things, discuss some of those challenges that we have experienced. And so we have some new information we would like to share with you guys shortly. So for all of my Board of Education members that are part of a small network of communication, we will be reaching out soon. So thank you to all of them. I want to make sure that I go back to this. This was important. The Cobb commissioners, our chair lady, has put together the inaugural Cobb County Youth Commission. And I want to make sure that we have some participation from those students here in post 3 from the southern portion of the county. In fact, I'll be reaching out to you, Ms. Rhonda Shepard, Ms. Valerie Tessman. I'm going to be reaching out to you in regards to this opportunity for our young people here in Cobb County. And this is an excellent opportunity. It's a leadership opportunity. And so I want to make sure that I put this in front of you guys as we move forward. I think the deadline has been extended. And so I want to make sure that we have some candidates from this portion of the county that can help represent us on the Cobb County Youth Commission. So thank you so very much. As always, I'm always asking everyone to join their local PTA, local PTSA. On yesterday evening, while I was in double duty with our Board of Education meeting, I was also conducting a meeting with our local PTA at Lindley Middle School. And so I thank you for all the officers who were voted in on yesterday that stepped up to the plate to serve Lindley Middle School this year. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And, please be active in your school, local PTA this school year. We appreciate it. So, as many of you know, I was not able to be a part of the Cobb County School District Board of Education meeting in person. And it really was, it was something that I needed to do, but I was not able to be there in person. And as a result, I was not able to shake Dr. D's hand and Dr. Sweeney's hand from our City View Elementary School here in the southern portion of the county in Mableton. Dr. D is our teacher, elementary teacher of the year. And I'm going to tell you, she is an excellent educator. She has the heart for our children. And what she does it very special. And so we want to officially, on behalf of your Board of Education member, congratulate you. As I had texted Dr. Sweeney and told her that I will be stopping by in the near future to drop something off to let you know how much we do appreciate you, and for the service that you provide to our children here at City View Elementary in Mableton. So we appreciate you and give you a great big shout out here today. Again, we did talk about the declaration of emergency with Chair Lady Cupid. We do have that. All right, let's go ahead and get to some meeting notes. We had a lot going on yesterday in our meeting, and so I want to make sure that I am going through the meeting notes and giving some highlights as to what took place. I think what I'll do first is a lot of the public comments were similar. So what I will do is make sure that I just give a brief overview. So at the 2:30 meeting, we had several people come in regards to making sure that we wear our mask and making masks mandatory in our schools. We had several spouses of teachers and physicians come. And the first time we've seen Miss Connie Jackson in a while. She's with one of our teacher unions. She came and spoke, and so we're thankful for that. We had a young lady who came and spoke about making, it was more of making masks optional, but she also had some concerns with the vaccine. And so we thank her for coming as well and sharing her concerns. We had a pediatric nurse who came and spoke in regards to opening the option for virtual school now that the cases have risen in Cobb County. We also had one of the persons who was interviewed by Cognia, our accrediting agency, who is currently doing a review. And he spoke in regards to his concerns with part of the questioning answering portion of that. And so he spoke before the Board of Education as well. We had a parent of post 7 who spoke in regards to mass choice. We had another parent who had concerns over the safety protocols. Another person spoke in regards to the accreditation and mass choice. And we also had I guess he was a retired physician. I'm not really sure how he listed his credentials, but he worked at the hospital, is from what I gathered, and he was also in favor of mass choice. And that was a 2:30 session. At the 7 o'clock session, I believe everyone who spoke was in favor of mandating masks or increasing our safety protocols. Some included online learning option being opened. A parent of triplets came, yes. Oh, Miss Tova Ringland, thank you again. She comes and she advocates for our special needs children. And so I appreciate you always coming and keeping us up to date with, with those different items as it relates to some of our most vulnerable children. So we appreciate you. She actually was advocating to make sure that we have a focus on hiring high quality special needs teachers and doing some of the same similar things that we are now doing for our bus drivers. And we'll get to that in a minute, but making sure that we provide, bonuses for them coming in to encourage high quality special needs children, teachers coming into our system to teach and support our children. Safety in schools, Alan Seelinger. Yep. Okay, so yes, this guy here, this young man, Master Alex Judge, came and spoke to us again. Listen, this young man comes and speaks before the Board of Education frequently, And so I want to let Mr. Master Alex Judge know that I do see him. I do appreciate your advocacy. I appreciate you coming and speaking to the Board of Education. And I see you because, again, as a father of children that look like you, black and brown children, I appreciate your voice. I appreciate you coming, and that work that we do because of children like you. And so, thank you. Your voice is heard. It is recognized. And so, thank you. I just want to continue to encourage you to do what you're doing, Mom. You're doing an excellent job. He is a gem, and I hope to meet him one day soon. Yep, one day soon. So, Mr. Judge, thank you so much for coming. I love when our children come and speak before the Board of Education because what we do is for you. It is. It is. And I don't want anyone who comes and speaks before the Board of Education to get weary in that. You know, when you're doing good, um, and you're doing your part as a citizen of Cobb County and letting your voice be heard. Don't get weary in your well doing. You know, be patient because in the right season, everything will work out. So just and so just be encouraged with that. So that's the old pastor and me keep trying to pull up things every now and again. So y'all forgive me. All right. So what I want to also say is um, there were some condolences to a bus driver who passed away as a result of COVID. And so, again, I can't express enough making sure that we follow safety guidelines and protocols to ensure that people are safe. Because, again, people are still dying. Those that support our school system are still dying as a result of COVID and COVID complications. So, we want to make sure that we are doing all we can to keep everyone safe. Um, Shout out to Commissioner Sheffield. My state representative, Erica Thomas here, Dr. Howard, the Cobb County School District, all of those of you who came out to the unveiling of the Edna Ume Crosswalk dedication service. I could not be there. I was at another event at the same time, and I really wanted to be there, but I appreciate all of the support from Dr. Howard, who is the board member and supports Lindley Middle School, and for our District 4 Commissioner, Monique Sheffield, and State Representative Erica Thomas, who even pushed legislation through in regards to the incident that happened last year, or I'm sorry, it's been 2 years now. Um, yeah, 2019, in regards to the passing of Miss Edna Ume, who was a crossing guard at Lindley Middle School, and she lost her life in service of our county, in service of our children. And so we want to continue to honor her, and we were able to do so with that crosswalk. So we are excited about that. Thank you, thank you, thank you for everyone who came out for that. And thank you again, State Representative Erica Thomas. Thank you, Commissioner Sheffield, Dr. Howard, for the work that we're doing to better the South Cobb community. So thank you for that. Also, the superintendent talked about there was a Cobb County School District bus driver bonus. It's a $1,200 bonus. It will be in your December payroll, and it's also for the monitors, the bus monitors as well. And you have to be employed by a certain amount of time. We're also encouraging people to join our school district, and if you join by a certain amount of time, you can participate in this bonus. And so, please go to our district website, get more information in regards to that. If you know someone that can qualify to be a bus driver, please, 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 we're asking that you reach out to the Cobb County School District and help us support us. As you know, we are short staffed in our busing department. I received all of the calls in regards to our children and the buses late and things of that nature. Please be patient as we are and it's not just us, all of Metro Atlanta. We're seeing some shortages in different departments, and this is one of them. And so I am hopeful that what we can do is make sure that we make this particular initiative to hire more bus drivers more enticing by making sure that we have the necessary safety protocols put in place to make them feel comfortable to continue driving. We do have a lot of bus drivers that are out that are sick currently. And so, again, I'm just hoping that we can come together and put together a plan that's going to make operation easy and not as disruptive as it is looking to be in the coming months. But I'm hoping that we can get to that place. So also I want to first, because I wasn't there yesterday, I want to also congratulate Ms. Beth Foster, who is our district Teacher of the Year, and she teaches at Osborne High School here in South Cobb, and and we're so appreciative for her. She's also our high school teacher of the year, but she's also our district teacher of the year. So congratulations, Miss Foster, and also Miss Michelle, who's also teacher of the year for middle school. All right, so the superintendent discussed yesterday that there's going to be a change to the online. So whether it's the EVP, which is our elementary virtual program, and also to COLA. As you know, if you applied to be a part of those programs back in March, April of last year, you were able to participate now. But the superintendent is opening up the window for next semester, starting January. So it doesn't alleviate any concerns or any opportunities for that option right now, in the middle, in the midst of what we have going on. But this is for January. So for January, be on the lookout sometime late October for the portal to open up to allow you to choose if you want to participate in virtual learning here with the Cobb County School District through COLA or through the elementary virtual program. It will be done. Students who apply will be selected via a lottery because there is only a limited number of seatings that can be made available at the time. But please, please, please be on the lookout for that, so that we do not miss this critical window um, moving forward. Tutor Atlanta, Tutor ATL is an online resource, was mentioned by our superintendent. We appreciate him for bringing that resource back to us again and just keeping some of those resources at the remembrance of our at the top of our remembrance. The Our library system was pushing the initiative of Tutor ATL a few years ago, and so we want to make sure that we know that that online resource is still available for our children, especially as education is being disrupted due to COVID, and you having isolation and different quarantine protocols, and children are not at school. So we want to make sure that they're still getting the support that they need. Um, so there was some changes to the protocol and the modification, and I'm asking that everyone please go to the school district website. I do believe also some of those protocols and some of those changes will be issued today via parent or not parent view, via CTLS. So you should get some of those updated emails in regards to what those protocols are. But it looks like there's going to be a change in how we quarantine and how we isolate. And I do believe it has something to do with all close contacts will quarantine at home for 3 days, and that's going to start on Monday. So whether symptomatic or asymptomatic, there will be a 3-day quarantine hold at home for 3 days, and again that starts on Monday. So please be mindful of that as we try to move forward to ensure the safety of everyone. One of the good things that we had, we don't what we had yesterday was an excellent opportunity to look at some of the data, some of the high level data for the Cobb County School District. And so this was exciting because uh, one of the cabinet members, John Floresta, he's over accountability, which is over that department that does all the data and all that kind of stuff. And he gave us an overview of how the school district is doing, not just statewide, but nationally compared to school districts around the country that look similar to the Cobb County School District based on, demographics, and that would include your ethnicity breakdown and things of that nature, economic disadvantaged children and things of that nature. So it was a very good synopsis of where we stood nationally and where we stood here statewide. And so with some good information, we also went into depth around transiency. And for those of us here in Post 3, where our schools do average anywhere between 15 to 18, sometimes 20% transiency, he gave us an overview of how that looks when we're looking at like CCRPI scores, and we're looking at other data like graduation rate and how that affects those numbers. So when we see those numbers from the state and we're saying, whoa, there is an explanation as to why that is, and a lot of it has to do with transiency. So that was explained on yesterday, and so I want to make sure that we all go back and look at the board meeting from yesterday, and kind of get to that part, and centering on what that information is in regards to some of that data. One of the good things we talked about that based on data, we do have targeted supports for those schools that need that additional support. And so we're excited to hear that. So that would mean that schools in our post particularly are getting some of that targeted support to make sure that we are seeing some of those gains, because we talked about closing gaps, and we talked about how we could, some of our schools start receiving those awards for gaps being closed and all of that. And so we explained some of those things as well. So we talked about with CCRPI, we talked about 80% of those scores is based on the testing that our children take. And so while we are 86.1 and we're the highest in the metro Atlanta area, when we start looking at some of our individual school data, it is below that average rate for Cobb County. And so we have to take into consideration that 80% of that data and 80% of that score is based on testing. And so we were able to discuss that. We talked about SAT scores, number one in the district. ACT scores were like number two in the metro area. And so we talked about that. And so talked about the transiency and how it can affect our graduation rates. When we're talking about dropout numbers, it was a lot. And I think what we're going to end up doing is having inviting John Floresta and his department to come, along with maybe our chief academic officer, Ms. Jennifer Lawson, to come and talk to our schools. And we may do it by clusters, so we can actually dig into the data and talk about a plan on how we will continue to support some of that targeted support we talked about and what that targeted support looks like for your individual schools. And so we may work on something like that, where we can have those town halls and maybe virtual, where we can have those conversations, and it can be explained by schools, and have our principals involved so they can explain their school data and how these different nuances affect our schools, so that we can be well informed in regards to what that looks like. And I think that's going to be helpful, especially when I was on a Zoom call with brand new parents that I think they have like 3 or 4 year olds that live, and they live in Mapleton, and they're like, hey, what do we do about the schools? And so they just wanted to hear from myself. They wanted to hear from Dr. Howard in regards to what is the plan and how we move forward and how schools in our area can be great. And so we were able to talk with them. But I think having these type opportunities, these town hall opportunities, will allow the community to understand where we are and how do we get better from there. And so I think we're going to schedule that. I will reach out to our superintendent and his cabinet to see how we can schedule some of those things and get those things on the books, because I believe that is going to be important for us as we move forward. Also, we voted on vocational grant that came through. And I'm going to tell you, this was exciting for me to see this vocational grant come through. It was awarded because what it does is it supports our schools with a lot of those CBA, a lot of those tech related courses that we offer, the audio video courses and things of that nature. We have cosmetology and those courses that are career, that help make sure that our students are career ready. This vocational grant helps supports that. It also, what was important for me to also understand, Pearson Middle School, our newest middle school that just opened up this year, what is the programming? What are we going to put in place? And so this grant money also helps us to establish that CTAE program at Pearson Middle School. And so we're appreciative for that. Also, we talked about one of the things I thought was very important in regards to that vocational grant was computer science endorsements for middle and high schools. And so this is for our educators. Most of you know that when our children are taking these tests, the tests that we just talked about, how it reflects in our schools, most of it is done online. Some of it is done online. And so can you imagine a third grader having to type and be fluent in typing and things that, so, typing is important. Our technology is pushing us in that direction. So having our teachers certified and having these endorsements for computer science is only going to help our children as they move forward and matriculate from elementary to middle to high school. And of course, as they become college and career ready. So we're appreciative for that. And so these are the highlights mainly for our meeting on yesterday. We also, our chairman of the board also talked about reapportionment, and I believe he made a motion. Wow. Yeah, I think he made a motion to to approve a company called Taylor English. I believe that is the name of it. Let me look at my text message because that's where I received the information in regards to it. Taylor English to create those maps for us, and so yep, that's exactly what it was. And so we will be moving forward in that process through that particular law firm, and and it did pass. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Rhonda. It did pass. That's right. And so we will be moving forward with that as we get closer to that time frame, because I believe the data will come out sometime in September. We want to make sure that we have something to present to the state and also to the Cobb delegation in regards to that. Any questions? I do want to make sure that I'm clear in the guidance from the superintendent on yesterday, specifically as it relates to mask, because if I did actually take a tally, and while I did not look at where we are currently today, because I did not add those numbers up. Yesterday, before the board meeting, I had close to 1,278 emails in regards to mask, and that was mask mandating. I had another 132 requesting choice in regards to that. So listen, we hear you. I hear you. Um, Currently, the guidance is that it will still be made optional unless you hit one of those categories where when you isolate or you're when you're either in isolation or you're quarantining, you come back to the building and you have symptoms, and even if you don't have symptoms, you have to wear a mask and things of that nature. I believe those things are still in place, but overall, it has been determined that masking will still be optional, but it is strongly encouraged. And I'm going to strongly encourage everyone to do what works for your family, and by that I mean make sure that your family and the family next to you and the other families that are in that classroom are safe. And so we appreciate that by following the guidance of our superintendent, by being strongly encouraged. And again, I want to strongly encourage you as well. And then also also just be mindful, look for those guidance from our public health officials, CDC and Cobb Douglas Public Health, as they also help us as we reach the decisions that we make, and some of the guidance that they give. And also just be mindful that we are, for the next 30 days, in a state of emergency, declared emergency by Chair Lady Cupid. And so she's also encouraging that everyone, number one, gets vaccinated, and number two, wear a mask. So that is it. Do we have any questions, any comments today? Let me see where we at today. Thank you, Rhonda. Good to see you this morning. Thank you for coming in. I mentioned you earlier. I want to make sure I get some information to you for your daughter, Zoe, in regards to the inaugural leadership academy with Cobb County. But I'll get that to you today. All right. Do we have any other questions? All right. If we don't have any other questions or any other comments or anything that we need clarity with, we will sign off. All right. Let me see what we have here. Were members of the cognitive review at the board meeting last night? No, I would doubt it. Most of those persons that were assisting us in this process, they don't live in the metro area per se. I mean, I think they live all over the United States, actually. And we do have some that are supporting us from the state of Georgia, but they don't live in the metro area. And I wouldn't think that they were in our board meeting last night, but our board meetings are also live streamed. So anyone around the world can view our meetings at any given time. And they're also archived on YouTube, and the district has an archive, and so you can actually go back and watch videos from 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago. I've actually done that while doing research on different things that we have voted on in the past, and how we voted and how those decisions were made as I was learning to become a board member. And I continue to do that as a point of reference oftentimes as well. So no, I doubt that, but again, anything that is streamed can be viewed and watched, over and over again. So I hope that answered your question, Ms. Bangs. Thank you, and thank you for being with us this morning. All right. Um, any other questions or concerns in regards to anything we discussed? And that brings a point. We did have our interviews this week on Monday, and you know what? So I should probably should talk about that. Yeah. So we did have our interviews on Monday, and you know, because of what is happening in our schools, um, close contact and things of that nature, um, my children and I have had to be at home, um, following the protocols and the guidelines of quarantine and isolation, and which is why, and we're fine. So let me clarify and first say that we are fine. Um, but I also want to make sure that I am being responsible by not um, sitting in board meeting all day along with my colleagues and with staff and with the community, um, while I am still in the quarantine isolation period, because again, um, I want to be responsible and be as responsible as I can. So my interview was done at home, and I was thankful that John Floresta, who is our liaison, was able to accommodate me. He was able to send me the Zoom link and say, "Hey, no, I reached out to him, and he was like, "Hey, listen, we can accommodate it. We're going to work it out." And he told me whatever the process was. He reached out to me and said, "Hey, this is what we're going to do." And he sent me the information that I needed so that I could log in from the house. Because again, they were virtual meetings. They were, via Zoom. And so we were able to accommodate that process. And so I'm also thankful to thank you, Doctor, or thank you, Mr. Floresta, for accommodating and allowing me to still be able to be a part of the process, even by attending from home while I'm in this quarantine isolation timeline. And so I do want to make sure I put that out there as well. Um, so in addition to that, some of you may already know that my children will be going virtual starting next week. I have made a decision to pull my children out of their schools, and we will be taking online. Um, we'll be doing online school moving forward for the unforeseeable future until I'm comfortable. And right now, I'm just not comfortable because since COVID came, or since we recognized COVID in March of last year, um, we have been extra safe and extra careful, and doing all we can as a family to make sure that we mitigate, you know, spread of COVID in this household. And unfortunately, as of once we returned to school face to face, that um, that was no longer something that happened for this household. And so we're having to make some changes as a household to ensure the safety of all of our children. And so we will be moving our children out of Cobb schools for a while, and that is disappointing for me as a parent and also as a board member. Um, so we're utilizing some of the other options that are made available for us, and so I appreciate that. Appreciate that understanding for those of you that do know, and for those of you that are watching and hearing probably for the first time. But we are making some different changes, and while this will not affect how the service that I provide you as your board member, this is just a decision that our family is having to make as a result of life, during the pandemic. So thank you. I appreciate your understanding in regards to that. I see that we have some questions. Let me see, Rhonda. It says, does Cobb County School District have the numbers? How many other parents are disenrolling? Rhonda, I'm not sure. That's a great question. That may be one of those items that I do ask because, again, how we're funded, especially when we have an FTE day coming up in October, and a lot of what we do is based on those numbers and things of that nature. This is a interesting question, so I will make sure I reach out to John Floresta in the accountability department and see where we are in regards to those numbers, because that is an interesting question, and I think it does warrant having understanding as to where we are, so that we can see what we can do as a school district moving forward. Will the results of Cognia review be released to the public? I'm not sure. I'm not certain that that is part of the process. Um, Cognio's review process is they deal specifically with the CEO, which is our superintendent, Chris Ragsdale, and his office. And so I am certain that the information will be given to the superintendent, and how that information is disseminated after that, I believe, will probably be at the discretion of the superintendent, as he is the chief leadership our chief leadership officer and our CEO, and so he is the direct contact person for that engagement with our accrediting agency. We are considering. Oh, yeah, Ms. Bangs, I completely understand. Um, and I think it is a great question. So I will reach out to John Flores and see if we can get those numbers and just get an estimate and see what we're looking at and see what enrollment looks like for the year, and maybe get a chart of, this is where we are, started this time, and then how charts go up and down and see where we are. Maybe we can get that monthly. So I'll request and see what that looks like. All right. Any other questions? Any other comments? All right. Thank you again, everyone who reached out, text messages, social media posts. We thank you. We thank you for your love. We thank you for your support as we continue to do the work that that you guys have elected us to do here for you and here in Cobb County. I want you to know that we are excited about the work. We're not discouraged about the work. We are here to serve, and we'll continue to be a voice for our constituency base, and for the students in our posts and our families and our communities. And so we just want to say thank you. Thank you for the continued support. We appreciate you, and we appreciate you appreciating the work that we do as well. Thank you, Tiffany. And so we will continue to move forward as we do every month. And we will continue to ask those questions that you ask, and so that we can be a better school district, so that we can serve all of our families in Cobb County in excellence. And so we're going to continue to be that light. We're going to continue to be that voice, and we're going to continue to be that resource to the district. So we appreciate you. And again, thank you so very much. If that's it, we're going to sign off. Let me see if I can find my outro. I like a good outro. Let's see, Lord. I'm doing all my tech work today myself. So, when slides are slow or missing altogether, that's it's because of me. All right. Any other questions? All right. Thank you, guys. Remember, please be safe. We are in the state of a declaration of emergency by Chair Lady Cupid here in Cobb County. Please be safe. Please be safe. Please be safe. All right. Until next time, thank you, and we'll talk soon.